Hi there, welcome along again to the KBC vlog. The last day of the month. How does that happen so quickly? Every month it races past, doesn't it? Well, here we are, and we're continuing to think using Glenn Scrivener's excellent book, Reading Between the Lines. And they're all daily readings from the New Testament. There is another one full of Old Testament daily readings, but we're just getting started really with this book. And so we'll be in the New Testament for some time to come. I'd invite you to turn to two passages and read them and then come back to me. The first one is in Luke's Gospel, chapter 16, verses 1 to 13. And then secondly, back to Matthew, where we've been for some weeks now, Matthew chapter 6, verses 16 to 24. And I'll be waiting here for you once you've pressed the pause button. Great. Glenn Scrivener writes, "We are all worshippers. We all give our hearts to something, and yet we only have one heart." Simon Weil put it like this, that no human being escapes the necessity of conceiving some good outside himself towards which his thoughts turn in a moment of desire, supplication, and hope. Consequently, the only choice is between worshipping the true God or an idol. Jesus says the same thing, but more radically. He identifies the idol that presents itself as God's alternative and gives it the name Mammon. He says in Matthew 6, "No one can serve two masters. Either you will hate the one and love the other, or you'll be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and Mammon." What is Mammon? Well, in the New Testament, it's an Aramaic word which is left untranslated. That's not helpful for us, is it? But we believe it to originally have meant riches or wealth, but it's also related to the word for trust, and therefore it conveys the idea of whatever it is you trust. Where do you put your trust? So think less of cash and more of confidence. It's what we invest in to give us life and security. Mammon is not simply the currency of this world. According to Jesus, Mammon is a power that competes for our devotion. And it's one or the other. It's God or it's Mammon. You cannot serve both. Jesus doesn't say you must not, as though it were possible but just ill-advised. Jesus didn't say it would be a good idea if you didn't do this. He says it cannot be done, because Mammon is a competing god in our lives. What does a god do? A god offers some kind of provision and protection. In return, it asks that you follow it, that you bow down to it, that you worship it. Folks, Mammon is a false god. It promises provision. It will be the source of your needs and wants. It offers you protection. It will cushion whatever blows you may face. But in return, it makes you follow it and bow down and worship it. Mammon is a master, a slave master at that. And Jesus unmasks Mammon here for us. Because to our eyes, money looks like our servant. We think money gives me security and status and comfort and power. Money is my servant, right? Money makes me a master, doesn't it? No. Whenever we put our trust in money to save us, we follow money into slavery. And we will find that we don't possess our stuff possesses us. Just imagine all your worldly wealth collected together in a piggy bank. Imagine that you have to carry it around with you everywhere you go. How do you feel clutching that piggy bank to your chest? Do you feel free? Do you feel empowered? Do you feel happy? No. You'd be scared stiff that if you drop it, you'd lose it, or you'd have it stolen. And there'd be 100 things that you would refuse to do in case you broke your piggy bank. And yet, whilst we clutch our wealth to our hearts, we will be slaves to money and haters of God. That's the stark assessment that Jesus gives us here. Followers of money must despise God, because God is not committed to our financial security, not in this age. God is not committed to our financial cushion or buffer for a rainy day. In fact, he's into demolishing our piggy banks. He wants to free us from them. If we have made money into our great hope for protection and provision, then we are on a collision course with God. Simon Weil called God the object of our desire, supplication, and hope. Jesus wants us to think again about what we want, who we pray to, and the one who determines our future. These things are not secured by Mammon, but by a Father who protects and provides as a gift. And as we'll see, he clothes grass and feeds birds out of the overflow of his generous heart. How much more does he lavish gifts upon his children? So the contrast between God and Mammon could not be greater. Both promise protection and provision and fullness of life, but Mammon takes and enslaves, while our Father gives and liberates. Allow Jesus to reveal to you the reality of money and maybe the grip that it has in your life. If it's trusted in, then it's a competing God in your life. But here is a stark and a glorious truth. If God is your master, money cannot be. Trust that helps somebody today, and we look forward to seeing you next time. God bless you. Bye-bye.